Hello friends. Before starting our today's lecture, first I would like to say that stay at home, stay safe and stay healthy. Okay. Now today we are going to discuss the next topic from the microbiology. In today's lecture, we will discuss one of the topic or one of the basic topic from the immunology, and the title of the today's topic is non-specific defense mechanism of the vertebrate body. In that non-specific defense mechanism of the vertebrate body, today we are going to discuss only about the first line defense mechanism, because actually under the non-specific defense mechanism there are first and second line of defense mechanisms that are included, but in today's lecture we will discuss only about the first line defense mechanism of our body, that is coming under the non-specific defense mechanism of our body. You will see my personal details on this particular slide. If you have any query regarding this particular video, you can directly contact me on this my mobile number, or you can email me also. Okay, so first we will discuss in brief about the introduction. Okay, so what is immunity? Because the word immunity is a common word, because the people from the non-science subjects also they are curious about the word immunity. So what is immunity? So immunity is generally considered to be as an ability of our body. So what kind of ability? The immunity is an ability of our body to recognize, to observe, to understand or to understood, and to protect or defend ourselves or our body from the infectious diseases. Whatever pathogens or infectious agents they are trying to come into our body, in response our immunity will fight against them. Okay, so this particular means that the immunity protects our body from foreign entities. Correct? Then what is immunology? Immunology is the study of such immunity. So what kind of study which comes under the immunology? Under the immunology we can study our immune system, different cells, tissues, organs involved in the immune system. We know that there are primary and secondary lymphoid organs which contributes our immune system. So studies regarding these all is coming under the title of immunology, and also the response given by our body against particular pathogenic agent. That response is also studied under the branch of immunology. So we can say in brief, immunology is the branch of microbiology which deals with the study of immune system and response given by our immune system against particular pathogen or foreign entity. So such immune response which is shown by our body is generally of two types. It is of specific type and non-specific type. Means what? Our immune response is of a specific immune response type or non-specific. So why it is called as a specific or non-specific immune response? In our today's lecture we are dealing with only non-specific immune response. Okay, so what is non-specific immune response and why it is called as a non-specific immune response? Generally, non-specific immune response or non-specific defense is considered as a first line defense mechanism of our body. So why it is referred as a first? Because we know that whenever any microorganism or pathogenic organism trying to enter our body, then it is the first which actually resist or try to resist the entry of organism. It is means what? It is the non-specific defense which for the first time try to resist the entry of foreign entities, and that is why it is called as a first line of defense mechanism. And this particular defense mechanism is not directed against a particular pathogen only. It can resist or it can destroy all the types of pathogenic agents which are trying to come into our body. So it is not specifically working against specific pathogens only. Means what? It is non-specific. Correct? That non-specific defense mechanism sometimes also called as an innate immunity. So why it is innate? Because most of the components of non-specific defense mechanisms, they are present in our body since from birth, and therefore they are called as a, or they are also called as a innate immunity. Okay, if we consider non-specific defense mechanism, and if we compare this non-specific defense mechanism with the structure of umbrella, then we will clearly understood the concept. Okay, generally we know that the umbrella, right? What is the function of umbrella? Generally umbrella is used for the protection purpose. From what? The protection of our body from rain, protection of our body from sunlight. Okay, umbrella generally is used to protect our body from rain and sunlight. As like umbrella protect our body, in the same way our immunity or defense mechanism also protect our body from foreign entities. You can see here in this particular diagram clearly. In the uppermost part you will see the structure like umbrella. We know that umbrella, it has a further different subcompartments. You know the structure of umbrella very well. These different compartments of umbrella, here they have been recognized as different components of our immune system. If we clearly see the diagram, you will understand it. If we consider only the upper part of this particular diagram, or temporarily we can label the upper part as a part. So what is that upper diagram part or A part is indicating? It indicates host defense in the form of intact umbrella. As we know that the intact umbrella can only protect our body from rain and sun rays, right? In the same way, intact immunity also can protect our body from any foreign entities. In simple way, we can say that जसं umbrella पासून आपल्याला प्रोटेक्शन मिळतं, तसंच इम्युनिटी पासून, इम्युन सिस्टममुळे आपल्या बॉडीला एक प्रकारचं प्रोटेक्शन मिळत असतं. जोपर्यंत umbrella व्यवस्थित आहे, परफेक्ट आहे, तोपर्यंत त्या umbrella थ्रू पावसाचे थेंब आत येणार नाही किंवा त्यातून सनलाईट किंवा लाईट रेज पास होणार नाही. हीच सेम टर्मिनॉलॉजी आपण आपल्या इम्युन सिस्टमला अप्लाय करू शकतो. म्हणून ही डायग्राम थोडी ॲप्रोप्रिएट आहे, लक्षात घ्या. म्हणजे तुम्हाला बेसिकली नेमकं काय इम्युनिटी करते आपल्या बॉडीसाठी हे जर समजून घ्यायचं असेल तरी कन्सेप्ट त्यासाठी परफेक्ट आहे. रादर ही डायग्राम त्यासाठी ॲप्रोप्रिएट आहे. आता त्या अम्ब्रेलाच्या वरती काय दिसते बघा डायग्राम. इन दिस पर्टिक्युलर डायग्राम above the umbrella we can see there are different types of parasites, different types of microorganisms, there are different allergens means who are responsible for allergic reactions in our body. There are different types of malignant cells, malignant means cancerous cells, or even there are different types of toxins. All these foreign factors or entities, they're trying to come into our body, isn't it? हे सगळे जे फॅक्टर मी जे आता मेन्शन केले ते सगळे काय करत असतात तर आपल्या बॉडीमध्ये ते येण्याचा प्रयत्न करत असतात. आणि आपली बॉडी काय करते तर आपल्या बॉडीमधली इम्युनिटी त्यांना आतमध्ये येण्यासाठी परमिशन देत नाही. डायग्राममधून तेच इलिस्ट्रेट करायचं आहे. लक्षात आहे, जोपर्यंत आपली इम्युनिटी इंटॅक्ट आहे तोपर्यंत आपला होस्ट डिफेन्स जो आहे तो स्ट्रॉंग असेल आणि ह्यातला कुठलाच कंपोनंट आपल्या बॉडीमध्ये येणार नाही. लक्षात आहे. बट व्हेन वन ऑफ द कंपोनंट ऑफ अवर इम्युन सिस्टम बिकम कॉम्प्रोमाइज और बिकम वीक, you can see the middle part of this particular diagram, we can label it as a B. So what is that B or middle part indicating is that host defense may begin to break down. त्याचं सिंपल कोरिलेशन तुम्ही अम्ब्रेलाशी करू शकता. जर अम्ब्रेला व्यवस्थित असेल तर आपल्याला पावसाचं पाणी लागणार नाही. लक्षात घ्या, अम्ब्रेला कुठे कट गेलेले असतील किंवा होल्स पडलेले असतील तर ॲटोमॅटिकली तिथून पाणी आतमध्ये यायला लागेल आणि तो पर्पज राहणार नाही ज्या पर्पजसाठी आपण अम्ब्रेला यूज करतोय. लक्षात आहे. इन द सेम वे, until the immune system or host defense is intact, none of the microorganism or pathogenic agent can enter into our body. But when our immunity start to compromise or start to break down, say for example here in this middle part, the phagocytosis, right, one of the part of innate mechanism of our body, the phagocytosis process is being compromised. Compromise means what? If suppose this phagocytosis process is failed to work, then what will happen? Then again it will result into the development of disease production. म्हणजे तो एक अस्पेक्ट आहे इम्युनिटीचा आणि तो जर अस्पेक्ट इंटॅक्ट नाही राहिला तर आपल्याला डिसीज डेव्हलपमेंटला सुरुवात व्हायला मदत होते किंवा डिसीज होऊ शकतो राहतं, कारण इम्युनिटी आपली वीक होत चालेल. लक्षात घ्या, तो एक पार्ट दाखवलेला आहे. आता अम्ब्रेलाचं स्ट्रक्चर आपण कम्पेअर केलं, देर आर टू साइड्स ऑफ अम्ब्रेला. ऑन द लेफ्ट साइड यू कॅन सी देअर अन इनेट इम्युनिटी अँड ऑन द राईट साइड there will be an acquired immunity. Okay, so from the innate immunity, if the phagocytosis process will fail to control the entry of organisms or fail to phagocytose the foreign material, then there will be development of disease. Once the phagocytosis will be affected, then what will happen then next? If we see carefully the bottom part of this particular diagram. We can label it temporarily as a C. Then we can see there the disease develop when many host defenses are compromised. Many host defenses means here in this case not only phagocytosis but other different parts or different aspects of our immunity will get compromised. And if such a thing will happen, then it results into the development of disease. So our immunity, as like that of intact umbrella, it should remain intact so that or so only it can protect our body. Isn't it? Lakshya hai? The next part is a typical immune response. Again, there is a simple diagrammatic presentation to explain about the typical immune response. So what is a typical immune response? You can see again here on diagram, just close to my photograph here, there is invading microbes or pathogens. They try to enter into our body. ते प्रयत्न करणार आहेत आपल्या बॉडीमध्ये त्यांना यायचं आहे. कशासाठी यायचं असतं ऑर्गॅनिझम्सना किंवा पॅथोजनना? आपल्या बॉडीमध्ये आल्यानंतर त्यांना शेल्टर मिळणार आहे, न्यूट्रिएंट मिळणार आहेत, त्यामुळे ते कॉन्स्टंटली एफर्ट्स घेणार आहेत आपल्या बॉडीमध्ये एंट्री करण्यासाठी. त्याला अपोज म्हणून आपली बॉडी काय करणार आहे ते ह्या डायग्राममधून क्लिअरली आपल्याला समजून घेऊ शकतो. When any type of pathogenic organism will try to enter into our body, they will be first encountered by our external defenses. So what are those external defenses? They have been mentioned in this particular diagram as the skin, mucous membrane and body secretions. So all these external defenses, they try to resist or they try to prevent the entry of foreign entities or organisms into our body. If suppose these external defenses they fail to do, जर त्यांना जमलं नाही किंवा ते फेल झाले त्यांच्या कामामध्ये, then what will happen? Then those invading organisms, they will be encountered by internal defenses. So what are those internal defenses? Then internal defenses, they will include phagocytic cells, they have antimicrobial different proteins, inflammatory responses, even have natural killer cells. So all these are the internal defenses. These defenses again try to resist or kill or to destroy the invading organisms or pathogens. And even if such internal defenses also get failed, then finally the acquired immunity comes. That acquired immunity actually is a part of specific defense mechanism of our body. In our today's discussion, we are going to discuss only with the non-specific defense. So our interest in today's lecture is specifically with respect to external and internal defenses. That too, in further slides, we are going to discuss only about the external defense mechanism. Okay, so that actual title for this particular presentation is only first line defense or external defense system. In my next video, we will discuss about the second line defense mechanism from the non-specific defense mechanism, isn't it? So the first line defense mechanism, it includes, as I said previously, it includes physical barriers, external defenses, which include skin and mucous membrane, and it also includes biological barriers, which further includes over-salivation, shedding tears, sneezing and coughing, intestinal peristalsis, and role of commensal. So all these physical and biological barriers, they will contribute to first line defense, and we will see them in detail in next slide. The first we will discuss about the skin. So how skin protect us? The first question, skin आपल्याला protect कशी करते? The first and most important part, that the skin is made up by keratin. Keratin, we know that the keratin protein, that presence of keratin in the skin makes the skin tough and also make it impenetrable for the foreign entities. म्हणजे केरॅटिन प्रोटीनमुळे जो टफनेस आलेला आहे त्या टफनेसमुळे कुठलाही फॉरेन एंटिटी एजंट स्किन थ्रू, इंटॅक्ट स्किन थ्रू आपल्या बॉडीमध्ये एंट्री करू शकणार नाही. सो दिस इज वन ऑफ द इम्पॉर्टंट फॅक्टर और aspect that makes the skin tough and which helps to protect our body. The second part is, we know that the outer epidermis of the skin is constantly being sludged off. So what is sludging off? अगदी सोप्या भाषेत सांगायचं झालं तर स्किन सेल्स आपल्याला माहीत आहे डेड होत असतात आणि डेड होऊन त्या निघून जात असतात रोजच्या रोज, बरोबर आहे. त्यासाठीच आपण काय करतो, रोज बाथ घेतो टू मेक आवर स्किन हेल्दी. मग स्किन सेल सगळ्या शेड ऑफ होतात. आता स्किन सेल ज्यावेळी स्लज ऑफ होत असतात त्यावेळी नेमकं काय होत असतं, वॉट एव्हर ऑर्गॅनिझम दे हॅव बीन अटॅच टू आवर स्किन सेल्स, दे हॅव बीन ऑल्सो गेट रिमूव्ड ड्यू टू द स्लजिंग ऑफ ॲक्टिव्हिटी ऑफ स्किन. सो दिस इज अनदर ॲस्पेक्ट because of which skin protect our body. The next aspect is the skin is acting as a poor source of nutrition. लक्षात आहे, बॅक्टेरिया स्किनवरती कधी स्टेबल राहतील जर त्यांना न्यूट्रिएंट्स मिळाले तर, पण स्किनमध्ये न्यूट्रिएंट नसतात, स्किनच्या सरफेसवरती न्यूट्रिएंट नसतात. स्किन इज ॲक्टिंग ॲज अ पुअर सोर्स ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन and therefore bacteria will not survive for longer period of time on our skin. लक्षात आहे, त्यामुळे स्किनवरती ते जास्त का राहू शकत नाहीत, कारण तिथं त्यांना जास्त प्रकारचे न्यूट्रिएंट जे सर्वायवलसाठी लागतात ते मिळणार नाहीत. द नेक्स्ट एस्पेक्ट इज द लोअर वॉटर कंटेंट ऑफ द स्किन. अनदर इम्पॉर्टंट एस्पेक्ट, स्किनवरती वॉटर कंटेंट हे खूप कमी असतं, ज्याला आपण अवेलेबल वॉटर म्हणतो, विच इज ॲक्च्युली इसेन्शियल फॉर द मेटाबॉलिक ॲक्टिव्हिटीज ऑफ मायक्रो ऑर्गॅनिझम्स. आणि त्यामुळेच असं म्हटलं जातं की जो मॉइस्ट पार्ट आहे स्किनचा, मग इन बिटवीन द टोज, द ग्रॉइन रिजन, जिथं मॉइश्चर कंटेंट जास्त असतं त्या ठिकाणी मायक्रोबियल इन्फेक्शन होण्याचे चान्सेस जास्त असतात, कारण तिथं वॉटर कंटेंट अवेलेबल असतं. ऑर अदरवाईज द रिमेनिंग पार्ट ऑफ द स्किन has a low water content and therefore it prevents the establishment of foreign entities, and that is how our skin protect our body. The next important aspect is the presence of skin glands. There are two types of glands that we know, oil and sweat glands, right? Sweat and sebaceous rather we can say. So both these glands have an ability to secrete some secretions on the surface of the skin, and some of the components of these secretions, this includes antibacterial acids like lactic acids, saturated and unsaturated fatty acids, like for example here it is the oleic acid. So these are the different types of acids which makes the conditions unfavorable on the surface of the skin, and that is how the skin can protect our body. Okay? So when this barrier fails, when skin fail to perform its normal function, so there are different conditions or situations. Under those conditions or situations, skin fails to work. The first situation is obviously the cuts or aberrations. If we have cuts or aberrations on our skin, then obviously that part of the skin will be damaged, and through that damaged portion the foreign entity or pathogen they can be entered, isn't it? The second part is the bites from the infected arthropods. We know that mosquito bite, when mosquito with the help of proboscis will pierce our skin, the proboscis here acts as an hypodermic needle, and during that penetration of the skin, it will allow the entry of pathogens which are already present on our skin, isn't it? The next part is the other means of the penetrating. So there are other things because of which our skin, which acts as a mechanical barrier, it get damaged, like because of puncturing of wounds, due to the root extractions, right? Then burns, due to burning upper epidermis layer is entirely get destroyed, isn't it? Then shaving nicks are there, sometimes they takes place on our face, and through that nicks sometimes skin microorganisms they will get enter into our body. Then war wounds are there, then due to the injections there will be hole. तर इंजेक्शनच्या वेळेस तुम्हाला माहिती आहे, इंजेक्शन करण्या अगोदर डॉक्टर काय करतात, त्या लोखंडी इंजेक्शनमध्ये स्पिरिट अप्लाय करतात, ज्याच्यामुळे काय होतं, लोकल जो स्किनचा फ्लोर आहे तो सगळा किल व्हायला पाहिजे, तेवढा एरिया ते डिसइन्फेक्ट करून घेतात, नंतर इंजेक्शन देतात. दिस इज द रिझन बिहाइंड दॅट. ओके, देन हू कॅन टेक केअर ऑफ दिस? जर स्किन डॅमेज झाले तर प्रॉब्लेम लगेच येणार आहे का? म्हणजे कोणतरी आतमध्ये असणार आहे ना डिफेन्स करण्यासाठी किंवा प्रोटेक्ट करण्यासाठी, कारण आपल्या बॉडीला माहीत आहे की अशा पद्धतीने स्किन डॅमेज होऊ शकते. सो इफ स्किन गेट डॅमेज, then for the protection there are the presence of dendritic cells or Langerhans cells. लक्षात आहे, डेंड्रायटिक सेल्स किंवा लँगरहॅन्स सेल्स ऑफ द इम्युनिटीमध्ये तुम्हाला हा पार्ट होईल किंवा झाला असेल मे बी. सो these dendritic cells or Langerhans cells, these are the potent phagocytic cells. So what they will do there, these phagocytic cells, they recognize the entered pathogen and they will phagocytose them. In addition to that, they will also secrete cytokines. And what is the role of that cytokines? Cytokines, they boost up or activate both innate and acquired immune responses. So our entire immunity will get activated. So these are the functions. The next part after skin is the mucous membrane. It is another physical barrier that we have and which protect our body from foreign pathogens. So what is mucous membrane? Mucous membrane, commonly we can refer to it as a mucosa, which is epithelial lining, and that mucous layer lines the digestive tract, respiratory tract, and urinogenital tract. So why the mucous membrane is present on these tracts particularly? Because if we think carefully, we can understood that the respiratory tract, digestive tract, and urinogenital tract, all these tracts they have openings, body openings there. For example, for digestive tract, there are two openings, mouth and anal openings. These are the body openings. This means that they can act as the portals for the entry of foreign organisms, isn't it? For respiratory tract, we have a nose. Through nose, we inhale the air, and during that inhalation process, microorganisms may get enter into the respiratory tract. So there is a presence of mucous membrane in all these entry portals, so it can protect our body from entered organisms. Because these exposed sites have portals, entry portals, as I've said earlier, this mucous membrane, we know that it is sticky nature, sticky because of presence of glycoproteins, and that sticky nature of mucus, it can trap heavy particles and microbes that have been entered through these portals, and thereby the mucous membrane protects our body. In addition to that, we also know that the mucous membranes have secretory antibodies, IgA, isn't it? That secretory antibody also destroy the trapped organisms, as well as to these different body systems. There is the presence of ciliated epithelia. Ciliated epithelia means whatever internal epithelial lining is present into these body systems like respiratory system or digestive system, there is entire ciliated epithelia present internally, and that cilia have ability to trap the foreign particles and thrown outside the body, and this is actually happened during the sneezing and coughing activity. We will discuss it in the later slide. The next part is the biological pattern. Until now we have discussed about the physical barriers. The next last part of the first line defense mechanism is the biological barriers. In that biological barrier, the first part is oral salivation. This is our common experience, right? अगदी सोप्या भाषेत सांगायचं झालं तर ज्यावेळेस आपण आजारी पडतो किंवा इन्फेक्शन झालेलं असतं आपल्याला, त्यावेळी सलायवा जास्त सिक्रेट होत असतं. So that oral salivation is generally acting as a biological barriers. How it acts as a biological barriers? That oral salivation helps in flushing the bacteria as well as killing the microbes because of presence of lysozyme in the saliva, right? We know that the saliva has a lysozyme, and lysozyme enzyme, it will destroy the peptide lichen present in the cell wall, and thereby it kills the bacteria, isn't it? So oral salivation helps in protection of our body by two ways. One, by flushing the microorganisms from our mouth, and secondly, that saliva contains lysozyme, which is antibacterial in action. The second is the shedding tears. We know that when there is eye infection, through our eye there is a constant flow of tears. What is the role of the tears? Again, tears, it helps in flushing out of the microbes or dust or whatever particulate matter that will enter into our eyes. In addition to that, tears also have some secretory antibodies like IgA that will destroy the organisms which have been present over there. शेडिंग टीयर्स, अगदी सोप्या भाषेत सांगायचं झालं तरी अगदी डोळ्यामध्ये आपण आपल्या जर डोळ्यामध्ये कचरा वगैरे गेला तर आपण काय करतो, पाण्याने स्वच्छ धुतो. तेच नॅचरली तर टीयर्स करणार आहेत, लक्षात घ्या. सो इट हेल्प्स अवर बॉडी. दिस इज अनदर बायोलॉजिकल बॅरियर. द नेक्स्ट वन इज द स्नीजिंग अँड कफिंग ॲक्टिव्हिटी. ॲज आय सेड प्रिव्हियसली, बोथ दीज ॲक्टिव्हिटीज आर दी रिफ्लेक्स ॲक्टिव्हिटीज. दे आर नॉट अंडर control or under will control, isn't it? Reflex activities or spontaneous activities. And during or due to the sneezing and coughing activity, whatever dust, particulate matter, dust carrying microorganisms that have been entered into the respiratory tract, they will be thrown out due to the sudden and vibratory movements of the cilia, as I stated previously. अचानकपणे ही ॲक्शन होत असते, शिंक येणं ज्याला आपण म्हणतो, ज्याच्यामुळे काय होतात, एनगल्प केलेले बॅक्टेरिया, पॅथोजन बाहेर टाकण्यासाठी बॉडीला हेल्प होते. So this is about the biological barriers. The next biological barrier is intestinal peristalsis. We heard about the concept of peristalsis, right? What is peristalsis? Peristalsis is the rhythmic contraction. Rhythmic contraction of what? Rhythmic contraction of intestinal tissue. Normally, the peristalsis is for the pushing of the food material during the process of digestion. ज्यावेळी डायजेशन प्रोसेस सुरू असते त्यावेळी जे फूड आपण इंजेस्ट करतो, इंजेस्ट केलेलं फूड आपल्याला पुढे ढकलायचं असतं आपल्या बॉडीला, त्या ॲलिमेंटरी ट्रॅकला. आणि ते फूड पुढे ढकलण्यासाठी ॲलिमेंटरी कॅनॉलचे जे वॉल आहे त्या वॉलमध्ये काय होत असतं, रिदमिक कॉन्ट्रॅक्शन होत असतं टू पुश द फूड फॉरवर्ड इन अ फॉरवर्ड डिरेक्शन फॉर द प्रोसेस ऑफ डायजेशन. दिस इज द नॉर्मल फंक्शन. बट इन ॲडिशन टू दॅट, पेरिस्टाल्सिस ड्युरिंग पेरिस्टाल्टिक मूवमेंट दे प्रिव्हेंट द एस्टॅब्लिशमेंट अँड अटॅचमेंट ऑफ पॅथोजन्स टू द इपिथेलियल सेल लाईनिंग. पेरिस्टाल्सिसमुळे काय होत नाही तर इंटेस्टिनल वॉल जे आहे त्या वॉलच्या आतून जे एपिथेलियल लाइनिंग असतं त्या एपिथेलियल लाइनिंगला काही बॅक्टेरिया अटॅच होण्यासाठी प्रयत्न करत असतात, आणि ते अटॅचमेंट डिस्टर्ब करायचं काम किंवा ते अटॅचमेंट होऊ न द्यायचं काम पेरिस्टाल्टिक मुवमेंटमुळे होऊ शकतं, लक्षात घ्या. त्यामुळे पेरिस्टाल्सिस काय करणार आहे, फूडला पुढे ढकलणार आहे. दॅट इज इज नॉर्मल फंक्शन. आता फूड पुढे पास होत असताना सुद्धा काय होऊ शकतं, इंजेस्टेड बॅक्टेरिया फूड बरोबर पुढे पास होऊ शकतात, लक्षात आहे. ते त्यामुळे कुठेही इझिली अटॅच होणार नाहीत इंटेस्टिनल वॉलला. सो इंटेस्टिनल पेरिस्टाल्सिस अगेन हेल्प्स our body as a non-specific defense mechanism. The last part is the role of commensals. So what is commensal? We generally heard about the normal skin flora, normal intestinal flora, or different types of microorganisms present in human body, on the human body or inside the human body. So all these organisms which are normally present in our body or on our body, they are generally referred as a commensals. They are the commensal organisms, isn't it? So what is the role of those commensal organisms? As I said, these commensal organisms, they are generally present on the skin and in the intestine. And where skin and inside the intestine, these commensal organisms, they prevent the establishment as well as entry of foreign pathogens. We can see here an example. The first example is the secretion of bacteriocins, which are produced by coliforms. For example, colicins, isn't it? The coliforms present in our intestine, they will produce colicin bacteriocins which have an antibacterial activity. And these bacteriocins or colicins, they destroy or kill the entered pathogenic organisms, isn't it? Another example is the lauric acid. The lauric acid secreted by Staphylococcus aureus. So how Staphylococcus aureus produces lauric acid? Actually, what happens, whenever sebaceous glands of our skin, they will produce a sebum or oily substances. That oily substances will be consumed by Staphylococcus aureus. And when Staphylococcus aureus consumes such a oily substances, they will convert those oily substances into a simple fatty acids, medium chain fatty acids. And one of the example of medium chain fatty acid is the lauric acid. And that lauric acid is found to be antibacterial in activity. So the lauric acid is present on our skin. Again, it kills the pathogenic organisms if they are present on our skin surface. So these are all biological barriers. So in summary, both physical and biological barriers, they will contribute to first line defense mechanism of our body, and both these factors, they will control our body as a part of non-specific. लक्षात आहे. आता नॉन स्पेसिफिक का, कारण कोणत्याही स्पेसिफिक टार्गेटलाच किल करायचं आणि बाकीच्या अलाव करायचं असं कुठल्याही प्रकारचं त्यामध्ये होत नाही. and that is why it is called as a non-specific defense mechanism of our body. And this is in brief about first line defense. लक्षात आहे. Because the same non-specific defense mechanism, it also includes second line defense mechanism that we'll discuss in my next video. So thank you for listening my video. If you like video, do share, do like and subscribe my channel. And further, if you have any kind of query, you can add comments on my YouTube video. Sure. Thank you very much.